Hello everyone, welcome to today's episode of Lorebeards. We are all a little haggard and confused because daylight savings is weird because it only happens on one half of the planet before it happens over here in the States. It doesn't happen in the States for like another week or two. Um so uh but we're here, so thank you all for joining us. Happy Halloween, of course, to everyone. We hope you're enjoying Geheimnisnacht wherever you may be in the world. You're doing something exciting or just taking a chill day to enjoy yourself. But we do have a Lorebeards here today to talk about a couple various things. So real quick, Nathan, how you been? How you doing?
It's good. Just working a lot of weird hours lately, trying to make sure that I'm keeping up with YouTube and personal lives and obviously employment. A little stressed.
Yeah. Creative Assembly has been kind of just suplexing us almost every day. It just never stops.
It's nice because at least we're getting a lot of new info, but it's like I need I need to breathe.
I know. It's like it'd be wonderful if they had a concept of like continuous but reasonable amounts of information instead of just nothing for 6 months and then nonstop for 6 months or whatever it's gonna be.
Yeah, it's it's a nice little thing though because we have seen some cool stuff though.
Oh yeah, and we will talk about all that in just a bit. But a couple of quick things to go through. Today we've got a ton of submissions for whatever Tale 2 Gamers. There we go. So we're gonna go over all of the submissions real quick and check out everybody's models, and then we will get into everything else. So without further ado, I'm gonna hop over here to the twits, and we've gonna be starting with Jay Phoenix's Jon Snow, and what is his wolf called? Bang? Snow? Snow.
Ghost.
I almost got it. And they're on...
It's
I like
cool.
how one's on a... Wait. Oh no, they're both on circle bases. But on
Yeah.
this image... Oh, it slots into a larger square base. Very cool.
Yeah, it's a beautiful. I think they do a lot of scenic stuff. Well, this might be custom made though, because it looks like there's a ridge. But that is lovely.
Yeah, it is really, really well painted. Like, just look at the eyes. Like, you can actually see the eyes on both models. And that's, to me, that's the scariest sign of impressive strength on a painter, is if you could see the deets on the eyes, and you absolutely can.
I love these Game of Thrones minis. They are just so cool, man. They're just so cool.
All right, next up from Narradio, we've got Nurgle. We got Nurgle boys, which are perfect, of course, for Halloween. Looks like, I think these are contrast paints. But we got
Yes.
one of the Maggoth Lords. The I forget which one this is. This is the one that's like his body is like full of blot flies, and like that's all he is. He's literally just a swarm of flies that shambles around as like a big man.
I like this. Yeah, it's definitely contrast paints, though. I think the main skin on the mount is Demon Flash.
Yeah, it turned out really well, especially the flesh. Like the flesh turned out super nice. The vomit looks good too. Well, you know, when I'm good in a in a well-made sense. But yeah, I mean, it looks solid. I really like the Maggoth Lords. I wish we had gotten them either before the end times or that they've been featured more in AOS, because they kind of just came out and then Games Workshop just kind of stopped paying attention to them. But they're such a cool model. Like the beasts are just such a intimidating design.
Oh, definitely. I quite like these minis. I like that he went off the norm and did a yellow rim too. That's actually kind of nice. Makes you feel like the old days with the green goblin green bases, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it kind of adds a sickly hue to it a little bit. So well done.
This is great.
Next up, Prince Baron is submitted. Oh, this is different. So it is a orc riding the Glotkin.
All right, so freebooter conversion for a Gorkanaut. That is
Amazing.
That is great. I quite like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's Gurk Glot being ridden into battle by a Is that the new Beast Snagga boss?
Yeah.
So presumably he stole he stole Kirk from his siblings. I love on the third image you can see the orc in the back who's got like little binoculars or something. A
Yeah.
looted Glotkin. That's amazing.
This is really, really cool. I wonder, like, if he's going full on with this army, because, like, that's not a cheap conversion.
No, but it's a spectacular one. That is
Oh,
absolutely hysterical.
yeah.
Great job on that, Baron. Next, Ernesto sent in a a Chaos Obliterator of the Alpha Legion.
Nice.
You got some really interesting, um, like it's almost kind of like a what's the style I'm thinking of? There's a certain art style that actually is very very similar to what this looks like. Um, where it's not comic booky. It's I'm starting to remember it off the name of my head. It's like almost a type of comic book style. Because it's very poppy. Like the pinks especially almost give it like it almost looks more like it's drawn than painted, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it looks really nice. Plus, it makes sense for Alpha Legion to be kind of like out there. So I really like the little oranges mixed in and the little purples. That's
Yeah,
great.
it's got some very eye-catching color. The pink parts, I can't tell if it's like like almost like a gooey flesh or if it's like burns or something, but it looks very provocative in a good way. Cell shaded. Yeah, thank you. That's what I was thinking of. It looks like cell shaded art.
That is great. That is great.
Next up, we've got Danavir's Pillaboss on what are these stupid things called? Nashtooth, Great Nashtooth. This is one of the new Auric models, and it looks great. I really like the Nashtooths, like these big scary wolf monsters.
Yeah.
Or it's like a weasel combined with a wolf, which would honestly be terrifying.
I
But
do like the Cruel Boys. They are a great cast.
yeah, it turned out really really nice. The shield looks really really good. All the squig face shields, and the colors turned out nice. The green skin in particular on the Killaboss turned out really good.
Is that the new because there's a new contrast paint for Orc Flesh, isn't there?
Oh yeah, there is. I don't know. I wonder if that's what they use because it looks very nice. And they went with good colors for the Nashtooth. Like I wouldn't think I wouldn't think to use blue skin, but it works really really nicely with the silver and purple rags. Yeah, so great job. Looks good.
Yeah, that's great.
And then we've got Toaster King's Mount Avalanor, which is the Mountain King of the Lumineth Realm Lords, who had a really bad time during during Broken Realms, but he's okay. He just got jacked up a little bit by Nagash. But I actually like how he almost kind of went with a volcano theme for the actual mountain parts that are rising out of the model.
Yeah.
I love this kit. It is such a cool monster.
Mm.
Like I've seen a lot of people kit bash it for other factions, but it's just a great model. Someone in my chat called it the beefer of secrets.
Fuck's sake.
Because it does almost kind of have a Slaneshi vibe to it.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, but it looks great. It turned out super great. Keep working, dude. And then we've got some guy called Great Book of Grudges. I don't know who that is, but he submitted this absolutely lovely Demon Prince.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to finish it. I'm calling it battle ready, but loads of uses of pink. I think I used voluptuous pink, but like twice. One with heavily reduced with contrast medium, just to give it a little pink tone for the skin. And going with the usual theme, so lots and lots of gold, lots of pink, a little bit of silver, and I'm quite happy with it. I mean, it's one of two. which means that this one's barely going to get used because it's got no wings.
Yeah, what'd you do for the the shawl or the clothing? Because it looks really, really good.
Voluptuous pink with a very heavily reduced shade of Magus purple. Very, very heavily reduced.
Yeah, that turned out like it looks like fabric.
I'm quite happy. I'm honestly really, really happy with it. The model itself is gorgeous. I absolutely love these this new wave of Sineshi stuff because they're just freaking good, man.
Yeah, this is one half of the Demon Prince Herald combo character, right?
Yeah, so I've got the Demonette. I've actually got her on something that I'm working on for a conversion. So I didn't want him for this, and I'm going to use the other. I've got another one which I'm going to use exactly as normal, which will have the Herald because it kind of will work like wings. But like I wanted to use the other Herald for something else, so I'm working on really heavily converting this army. I mean, we've seen already with the warriors and so on.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Next up, we got Rowan the Accused, who sent in a river dragon for his Nippon tabletop army, and that's a kick-ass mini. That is a kick-ass mini, and he's done a really good job with it. If I had to guess, it looks like he's done some. Looks like those are actual edge highlights around the bottom half scales, and then he dry brushed the top scales. But like, damn, dude, he did a really good job on those scales.
Rowan always goes full ham on these things, and it is so much effort. Like I wouldn't have the patience to do that. That is awesome.
Yeah, he did an absolutely beautiful job. Oh, I didn't even look at the fins, man. The fins look absolutely amazing.
He says he dry brushed the top.
Looks great. It looks absolutely great.
Mm.
All right, Tactical Sign has sent in a not a Vargulf, a Vargskier. There we go. It's but everyone but the Vargskier is from the Cursed City set, and looks like he did a super kick-ass. It looks great. I mean, it looks super good. Like very nice choice of colors. Really spooky, beady little red eyes. Fur turned out perfect. Skin turned out perfect. I don't really have much to add. The Vargskier looks absolutely incredible. It's such a good sculpt.
On the side too.
Yeah, it's got a little rodent down there.
So what is this in Age of Sigmar then? Is this like the new Varghulf or?
Kinda. So the Vargskier is like a very specific bloodlines version of a Vargulf. So the Vargulf in the modern AOS is considered to be part of the Flesh Eater Courts, so it's a Strigoi vampire monster. But the Vargskier is kind of the equivalent of the Vargulf, but it's for the wolf bloodline.
Right.
For the Virkos. So it's a Virkos Vargulf essentially. So it is similar. It's actually a little bigger than a Vargulf. But like I think if you think of Vargulf on like a 50mm base, the Vargskier is like on a 60mm base or something like that.
I might have to buy one because the old Varghulf mini is just kind of trash compared to this. I mean, this sculpt is just beautiful.
Yeah, if you put him on a square base, I think he fits on the exact same base as the Vargulf. He's a bit bigger, but it's not like obscenely so. But
well,
yeah,
he's standing anyway.
Yeah, he's got more wolf-like features as opposed to the Vargulf, which the Vargulf is explicitly kind of a mix of like wolf, bat, and bug, whereas the Vargskier is more just bat and wolf.
That's great. That is honestly great.
And then, oh, sweet goodness, King Vibe sending in Big and Little Morothy with some vibrant reds. Oh my good gosh.
Very pretty.
I hate this model for the record, because I've had to fight it many times, and it is agony to kill Morothy. I have to fight almost at least one Morothy every single month at a tournament. But outside of my personal bias, this turned out really, really good. The model is gorgeous. It looks great.
The gold wings on Standing Morathi looks like that is just stunning.
Yeah, I wish I could get my metallics to look like that. I don't know what voodoo he did, but it the metallics on this model look absolutely incredible.
That is so cool.
Like it's so shiny.
Mm.
Like in a like you can it almost looks like he used like white or silver trim because it's so shiny. I don't know what gold paint he used, but it's really really good.
It's
Or
definitely
maybe
not
he's
just Nobby
just
paint.
maybe he did highlights and that's what's throwing me off. It's hard to tell.
That is so cool. That is so cool.
All right, so that's all of the Twitter ones, but we have a whole bunch to show off on Discord. So we're gonna go over through those now. Let me just scroll on up to the top. So first, we've got an entry from your Discord. Who's this by?
This is from Naldor. So we have a really, really awesome Hell Cannon. It's actually in a style of that of the like you can see the blue. It's more of the style of the Regiment of Renown. that we
Yeah,
can
the
get in.
Iceforge Legion.
Yeah, that is. It's just such a good model. Like I know this model really well because I've used Hell Cannons in the past, and they are such great artillery pieces. Plus, they're a great weapon if you want to threaten someone. You know.
Oh yeah, they are. They have terrifying rules, like genuinely terrifying rules if you're fighting against one.
Mm. They're just so good, and I love it. It's got that classic look. It's painted in a nice way because it's gritty and so on. I just love Hell Cannons, man. They're such a great model.
Yeah, it's a very eye-catching piece. Hopefully he got one made out of resin instead of one made out of metal because the metal is nightmarish. Because these guys come in so many components. Like it's broken into so many more parts than you would think it is. It's kind of terrifying.
I think he said it was metal, but he's actually in my chat, so hopefully he'll be able to respond to this because that is it's such a good mini, man. I love
It
Hell
is.
Cannons.
He should be
Out
super
of
proud of
all
this.
the artillery pieces, these he says it's metal. He says it's
Oh
metal.
my dear God. I don't even know how he put it together then.
Yeah, jeez.
I have tried to put together one of those in the past and it was genuinely nightmarish. It was an actual nightmare. All right, moving on to the next entry. We've got God, I have to. Okay, we've got Friender Traders Gobsprack, who is the new big bad for the Cruel Boys on his Killabeak Vulture.
Cool.
And I love this mini. I genuinely love this mini. It reminds me a lot of Azhag, which some people hate when I say that, but I feel like it invokes Age of Sigmar Azhag, except for it's got like an actual Auric shaman on the back instead of just a weird orc who's using death magic. No, he's a proper shaman. But it's a great model. Like I absolutely love it. And I love he really likes having hands. He's got so many hands all around the model.
So cool.
So yeah, it looks great. Next up, we've got so this is Two Wicked's first kit bash. It is a salamander combined with the toad dragon from the Tarmacon set.
Interesting.
So it's the toad dragon head with just all sorts of man. That is a creepy looking monster. Like I would not want to see that thing coming at me. Oh, good lord.
I'm just thinking, I'm just thinking about kit bashing with Tamukon's Toad Dragon. That's an expensive kit bash.
I know that is like it's like that's a man driven by pure focus and nothing else. He will not let anything else stand in his way.
Like holy crap.
Then we've got a did I post the Squig Rider?
No.
Okay, I'll post it. I'll post it at the end. Next up is the Gorgon. So we've got a beautiful painted Gorgon by Bluestrin, which is insanely gorgeous. Also, I love that he's holding a bonus statue in one of his hands to presumably smack someone over the head with.
That is great.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add other than it's just a dude. Look at the the leaves and stuff on the base. Like what? What?
Oh yeah, he's gone full ham.
What is this bullshit? How did he? What sorcery is this? Where he's got these like beautifully immaculate leaves scattered around the base with like the flowers and the stone and stuff. Like this Gorgon's walking through just a beautiful idyllic fall scene. It looks amazing. Looks absolutely amazing. Yes, the Gorgon is a plastic kit. Yep, it's a really good kit. It's very popular.
Yeah, I mean it comes with 10 Bestigors and a Shaman too.
I think so. The starter kit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, Night in Flames. Once again, just blowing our minds, sending in these insanely well detailed and painted Minotaurs. And like, I don't even know what to say about these things because they're so ridiculously good looking. Like, what the hell, man?
I think we missed something on Twitter. We'll have to go back after we're done here.
Okay, we can go back and double check. But like, the lighting on these guys, from like their weapons and their runes, or the one with the flaming axe, how the lighting, you can see it on his shoulders and face and horns, like, what? Is that axe a light effect or is that paint? No, that's paint. This is just paint work. Night on Flame says, "Oh yeah, I just dry brushed." Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
That is impressive. That is impressive.
Yeah, absolutely immaculate job, dude. It looks incredible. Also, what sculpts are those? Those are really nice Minotaur sculpts.
Probably creature caster, I assume.
Next up, we've got Gruzgob's Avatar of Cain. And this is a molten-y looking boy.
That is great.
Oh, he says those are the regular Minotaurs from Games Workshop.
Fuck off, really?
Really? He says he just posed them differently. Wow. Well, Games Workshop should sell them in that repose because they look a lot better than their normal version.
They look like completely different minions.
Yeah, I really, there's no kit bash. These are just like, really? Wow, I'm shocked, genuinely. Okay then. Yeah, we got Gruzgob's Avatar of Cain, and he did a great job. This is a hard mini to paint. Like because it's like a molten boy with lots of like fire and stuff. Like he did a really good job of making it look like it's actually a bubbling, molten-y creature of like scalding blood or whatever the hell this thing is supposed to be. But it looks absolutely great, dude.
This is a tough mini to make look good, especially from its two variants, because you've got either the metal version or the finecast version. Both are so finicky to work with, so this is impressive.
Yeah, great job, dude. Next up, we've got Farir's Drycha Hamadreth. In a snow theme, and it's also kind of a pseudo diorama as well. It's like not only does he got Drycha running around, but there's some beastman creatures on the back half of the base, and then there's a really pissed off looking dryad on the front of the base that is in a very nice pose to look like she's just kind of whipping around. But yeah, I love this model. It's a great model. Drycha, I love Mecha Drycha. She looks great. Does this model have boobs? Well, it's painted by Farir, so yes. I mean, the basic model has boobs, but I think Farir accented them a little bit, which makes sense. But yeah, Farir did a kick-ass job. I really like the color choice Farir went with. It's got like a really nice mix of blacks and whites. Black and white, if you can pull off a black and white color scheme, it's really good to look at, and I think Farir did a really good job with it.
I mean, that's the type of color scheme that used to win Golden Demons, didn't it? Black and white.
Yep. I mean, if you, as long as you can pull off like having good lines and stuff, it pops really crazy.
Mm.
Then we've got from Galley 117, who is definitely one of the members of chat I have accidentally did a bad job with and got her murdered in my Darkest Dungeon playthrough. Submitted a Lord of Change by Reaper Minis. So this is a slightly smaller, based on the Greater Demon of Tzeentch, I assume. But it's like a vulture demon, and turned out very, very nice. You can see it's got like the different like layers of wings, and but man, its weapon is very like, it's got that spooky ass pick on the bottom side, and then the top side is like a giant cast iron thing to just smack you in the face with. But yeah, it looks great. Good job. Great job, Galley.
What's that on the base?
Oh, I don't know, but it looks really good.
Yeah.
I don't know what she put on there, but it is like, it looks really, the base looks absolutely incredible, actually.
Yeah. It's got loads of accents on it and stuff. I just can't pinpoint it. That looks really, really nice.
Yeah. All right, then we've got Xenophones, Ossiarch Bone Reapers. He's got a little skeleton boy, and then he's got the big boy. I always want to call this thing a corpse grinder, because that's what I feel like it looks like it's doing, even though it's not at all what it does. But this is a great model. This model actually almost got me into running Ossiarch Bone Reapers, because I was like, oh, it kind of looks like a big undead Croxagore. Like, it's a really cool construct, and I really hope that the Bone Reapers get more constructs in the future. Because it's kind of like an Ushapti. It's just a very, very fat Ushapti. Because it's got that bone carriage in the back. But he did a great job. Like, anyone that is painting a model that has like a bone cage and there's like spirits and stuff inside of it, and they managed to paint all of the little spirits and stuff without gunking up the bones, I have mass respect for that. Because that's hard to do. And I like the color scheme. It's almost like a Clan Moors type color scheme, but with a lot more bone. And it turned out really nice.
I do like the Bone Reapers are nice. I think there's been rumors that they're going to get archers soon, which is going to make it really, really interesting for this army.
Oh yeah, I would be super shocked if they do not get archers, just because they got one in Underworlds, so
Yeah.
to me it probably leans forward to them getting more. Next up we've got Hawk Oddly's Gorgon. We got another Gorgon. There's Gorgons everywhere. And he went with a different color scheme. His has got a lot more kind of like orange, and like the bones are kind of a dirtier color. But it turned out really nice. It's funny, both of the Gorgons we saw went with kind of autumn colors, but I feel like Hawks is more almost like pumpkin type colors, where it's like oranges, vine greens, then you got like the dirty bones and brown, but it turned out really nice, and it's very, I think it's a perfect Halloween themed submission at the very least.
Definitely. Plus, like, anyone who paints orange while going mad is spectacular, because orange is just so bad to get sorted and making it look nice, but it looks really nice on the fur. It
just occurred to me that this is essentially a ginger Gorgon, because his hair is ginger orange. Next up, we've got Flaccid Felines, work in progress, but it is a Maw Crusher with a Ogre Pirate Lord on the back, with a Noblar held up on a banner that's got a long gun. For a Noblar, it's got a gun. Who gave the Noblar a gun? But it's looking so good. And I love the ogre choice. Like, he's kind of a pirate ogre, but he's also kind of an empire ogre, empire
Yeah.
man eater. Like, this looks like such a fun model. Also, it looks like there's some kind of weird little contraption on the Maw Crusher's tail too. But he's got, look at that harpoon gun he's got too. Like, good lord, looks like they may have combined like a Caradron Overlord kit with his gun. But like, that gun is, or maybe that's a regular ogre gun, I'm not sure, but I love that it's a spear gun. It's literally a fishing rod, but it's a spear gun, and then he just cranks it to whatever he shoots back in. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
it looks
absolutely
really, really
amazing.
good.
And then thank you, friend or trader, for that bonus picture. And then we've got Morin Val, a 40k piece. This is the big bad lady for the Sisters of Battle, right?
Yeah, this is a Sisters of Battle piece. Gorgeous, gorgeous mini. I really like this.
Yeah, I think she's one of the Lords of Terra, if memory serves, and she actually gets out there and slaps people around, gets in business. And it looks fantastic. It's got like a really interesting exotic base. All looks good. Everything looks good.
Mm.
People just making pretty models everywhere. And then
The
what?
Sisters casts look really good lately. Like, this was an army I was tempted to paint myself, and I must admit I bought a bunch of boxes. So maybe one day.
Yeah, and then the last thing I've got from my Discord is this squig knight.
One
So
second.
I believe is still a bit of a work in progress, but he looks absolutely fantastic. And this is by Peter. But like, God, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
That's a lot of detail work.
Yeah, that is a stupid amount of detail work. Like the armor with the little pinks on it. Oh no, that's not pinks. Those are like trees. Like they're painted armor plates.
Just get out of the picture 1 second.
And then the squig's like really popping. Really popping. And it's actually a lot scarier looking than a regular squig. Like, that is way scarier looking than a regular squig.
That is really, really cool. That is really, really cool.
Oh my gosh, dude. It's looking absolutely incredible.
That reminds me of, I've got to find the picture for you for later. There was, it's a very popular picture that goes over all the Warhammer Fantasy groups on Facebook. It's a Bretonian knight, but the barding on a horse is a diorama itself.
Good lord.
It blew my freaking mind seeing that. And this gives me that like feeling of it. It's just like,
so I've been informed in chat that the armor is essentially like it's chromed armor, so it's reflecting the environment around the squig rider.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's stupid insane. Like,
Wow.
really, really good. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it when it's all finished and based up.
Fucking wow. Like that is so cool, man. I wish I could paint like this.
Yeah, I know. Like I don't even know why I bother sometimes.
Damn.
Was there something on Twitter we missed, you said?
We're gonna check, yeah. Give me 1 second. Because I'm pretty sure I saw someone post a Taurox on Twitter, but I might be losing my mind.
Did they at you maybe and forget to use the hashtag?
It could be. It could be.
Because there's not anything.
I could have sworn I saw someone.
Oh no, we've actually got 2 more entries as well on Twitter that we missed. There's an entry by Rotten Crown and there's an entry by Jelly Joe we need to go over.
Okay, just 1 sec. I'm trying to freaking find.
Yeah, sure. Take your no rush.
I could have sworn. Where's this Rotten Crown one? I can't find it.
If you go in, if you type in the hashtag and do it in order of time, just go down to and you'll see it. It's a mangler squig.
Oh, yeah, I see it. Okay, cool.
All right, so we got the Mangler Squig submission, which looks. I love this model. I love this model. And it just reminded me we don't have Mangler Squigs in Total War Warhammer. CA, please. CA, please.
Shit. Yeah, we don't have Mangler Squigs. I could have.
Yeah, it's easy to forget. Like, I keep forgetting that we're missing. I was literally talking about like what stuff I want to see for the greenskins yesterday, and I couldn't remember like more stuff. It's like we don't have Mangler Squigs and we don't have Colossal Squigs. We need both. Where are my Squigs? Where are my Squigs at?
You see, the Colossal Squig I easily forget because we have what's it called? A really, really good mod. I think it's by Chaos Robbie, so it's like, yeah, you know?
Yeah, Chaos Robbie does insanely good monster mods. He does a lot of good mods, but his monsters are particularly crazy.
Mm.
I love this sculpt. And great job with it. Rotten Crown, you did absolutely beautiful work there. And then we've got a really, really cleanly painted and beautiful Goth Death Dread by Jelly Joe. And that is a clean paint job.
Like, I love Goths. Goths are like the best orc clan.
Like, this is a kick-ass looking mini. I love this mini.
Look, he's done freaking metal chipping and everything there at the front where the claw is. That is so good.
Yeah. Yeah, this looks really nice. This looks super duper duper nice. I love how many arms it has. This thing is so ridiculous looking, but it's so in such a good way.
Goths. I love Goths so much.
Yeah, you can tell the checker print's hand painted. Looks great though. Like, you should be super happy with this. Looks cool. Wonderful. All right, I think that's everybody.
I think so, yeah.
All right, so Nathan, what is on the agenda for next Tale of Two Gamers?
Right. So this, I'm gonna tell people to go with a character. You know, just go have some fun with a character. I, on the other hand, I'm gonna try and work on something different because possibly tomorrow or the next day, I'm gonna have a really fun delivery coming in. Because everyone at my Discord decided to play with my heartstrings and show me that there was a place selling a lot of Chaos Dwarves from Forge World.
Oh my gosh.
And I bought a lot of Chaos Dwarves from Forge World.
Did you sell a kidney? How did you get all these Chaos Dwarf minis?
I've been saving up on a rainy day fund, and then that rainy day fund has been expended because I've got myself some Kadai, some Bull Centaurs.
Whoa, they had
some.
Wow, so they had some. So it's a big haul. That's awesome, dude. That's super exciting.
So I'm gonna try and get a Seneshi champion out of the way, but I know there's a lot of Forge World resin, which a lot of stuff is still in sprue and so on, so it needs to be cleaned and tended to and so on.
That's awesome, dude. That's super exciting.
I think I did a tally of the points, and I'm about a 1,500 point army list is arriving.
Wow, that's kick-ass.
Yeah, and I'm mixing it up with all the hobgoblins I have, because for some reason, I don't know why, because I don't remember purchasing these, but I have an ungodly amount of hobgoblin.
I don't know how they got here, but
yeah, I literally do not remember buying these, but I have a lot of them still in box and it's blisters and stuff.
I like the idea that you just wake up at night and there's just like new hobgoblin boxes at like the foot of your bed or something. Like the cats are bringing them in or something.
It is super, super weird. Like, I was really, really happy, and I was like, you know what? Screw it, man. Like, they're going to be fun to paint, and it's like, it's one of those units that you barely see. Oh, we got tagged, by the way, on the one that we were missing on Twitter. Jeez.
Oh, okay. We'll check that out in a sec.
Yeah, but like, yeah, no, super, super excited. So I'm going to try and get a bunch of Chaos Dwarfs done if time permits, because next month is going to be quite busy for me work-wise. But until then, obviously, guys, another character will do fun. You can use it as any character you want. You can have a small character on foot, a character on a mount, a character on a war machine, whatever you want. Just have fun with a character.
All right, and then the last mini we're showing off today is from Bear. You're Bear Minis. You're just called Bear Minis now. And he has done a Tarex the Brass Bull sculpt and paint job, and it looks amazing. Like, what a big angry brass boy.
Yeah, that is really, really cool. That is really,
Dude,
really,
the
really cool.
muscles on his back are so intimidating looking. Like, holy shit, dude.
This is a pure conversion, isn't it?
Yeah, this is not a normal sculpt from Games Workshop anyway.
That is cool.
But it looks really good, and I love all the skulls with the free painted like cornate runes on them, or the beastman runes, and yeah, it looks really really good. And that brass flesh, that's really hard to do. That level, that just the sheer amount of metallics. But it looks great. It looks like it turned out super duper great, and I love his big angry face.
Yeah, that is cool. That is really, really cool.
All right, so on to like Nathan said, characters are the thing for next time. Oh, that reminds me, we will not be having Lorebeards next week. I am on vacation. I'm out of here. I'm gone. And actually, look at my calendar real quick. We are off for 2 weeks. So we might, when I get back, we'll probably try and get together for Lorebeards that week. But next Sunday and the Sunday afterwards, there's no Lorebeards. I'm out of here. I'm gonna be in Scotland. So don't come here next week in Sunday morning because there's nobody's gonna be here. So we will of course try to get together the week I get back. So that because there's probably going to be a stupid amount of crap to talk about. But you know, we'll manage.
Yeah.
So, moving on, just keep things brisk and on the move. For tonight's Who Would Win, we've got a fairly quick matchup. Pick some characters that don't have a lot of items or gimmicks, but they're both powerful and a lot of fun. To do a Geheimnisnacht themed showdown, we've got Konrad von Karstein versus Moonclaw, the son of Morslib. So a quick rundown for chat as an explanation of the characters. Konrad, for those that are unaware, is one of the children of Vlad von Karstein, one of his children in death, not his actual kids. But Konrad was one of the last vampires that Vlad created. And he kind of created Konrad as a bit of a sadistic joke. Konrad in life was a really batshit crazy dude who had a lot of problems, and Vlad noticed how bloodthirst, because he was kind of like an enforcer in the city of Waldenhof, and Vlad thought it would be kind of funny to see what would happen if he turned him into a vampire, because he was already out of his mind. And Konrad survived the process of the blood kiss and became really crazy. Like, so crazy to the extent that after he transformed, or I think actually before he transformed, was the whole incident where he had his mother tried and found guilty for giving birth to him without his permission. And he found her guilty, and she got locked into a tower and starved to death. Like, that was him before he became a vampire. And then after he became a vampire, he got a lot worse. But he was a brutal berserker who he was kind of the closest thing we had in 8th edition to a playable Blood Dragon special character, in that he's literally just a whirlwind. Like, he's got his twin swords, the Sword of Waldenhof, and then kind of a bonus blade that comes with it, and he's just a blender that just goes through stuff. He hits like a truck. He's a very skilled fighter for his level of vampire. However, he can't use magic. He's a very unique vampire in that he's literally so crazy that he does not have a grasp of magic whatsoever in any shape or form. He's a vampire that has to sustain himself on blood because he can't sustain himself on magic like any other vampires can. But the Sword of Waldenhof is very good at taking big chunks out of people. If you get stabbed by it, you're going to have a bad time. And he's just a super skilled fighter. The only thing worth noting about him is he does have a a rule or a thing that represents his insanity called one bat short of a belfry, which is that when Konrad is fighting in battle, there is a chance that he'll just kind of space out essentially and just like start rambling and ranting and walking around the battlefield. Or on the other side of the coin flip, he'll just lose himself to a mind-rending frenzy and is going to attempt to kill pretty much everything. Then on the other side, we've got Moonclaw, who is the literal birth child of the moon, the Chaos Moon Morslib. And that is not an expression, that is literal. Morslib literally somehow got pregnant. I don't know who was the brave soul that did the deed, but somebody did. And it had a baby, which was an egg that turned into a meteor that it hurled at the planet. And when it crash landed, it cracked open, Moonclaw popped out, and crazy shit happened. So you've got Moonclaw, the lunatic prince, and Moonclaw kind of represents the concept of insanity among the Beastmen. Not only does he represent the Chaos Moon, Morslib, but insanity is kind of his sphere of influence. And it's represented in that he literally has a concept called the Wave of Insanity, which is that Moonclaw is such an aberration in existence that he's constantly giving off this aura that makes people potentially just lose their minds or kind of go on like a really bad trip for a bit. And it can make it where someone's just stupefied and not like aware of what they're doing or where they are and who they're taking care of. The other thing he can do is that if Moonclaw can survive long enough in a battle, he can actually unleash the power of Morslib itself, which is that Morslib, whenever Moonclaw is fighting, Morslib will begin to wax full. And if it waxes full, which it can happen pretty quick, it not only will greatly empower his magics, because he is a wizard, but it will literally spit meteors that Moonclaw has the ability to direct. So he can hurl meteors at people, warpstone meteors, straight from Morslib on demand. And then the last thing is that Geheimnisnacht, the moon actually does, Geheimnisnacht, Morslib actually protects him. Morslib, the Chaos Moon, is almost kind of like a demigod, and it gives him like an aura of protection that makes it where he kind of vaguely phases around in reality a bit. So when someone goes into A, magic just almost entirely bounces off of him, and B, whenever someone tries to attack him, there's a okay chance that he'll just kind of weirdly phase through it. He's almost kind of like a demon in that sense. But he doesn't have any magic items to call on. He just has a lot of abilities. And then, of course, he will be riding his mount, Umberlock, which Umberlock is a very strange two-headed chimerical beast that is super freaky looking, that is Moonclaw's brother. So he rides his brother into combat, and he's this two-headed, ugly monstrosity that is very, very fast. It's not particularly... It is dangerous in a fight, but it's like weaker than most mounts of a similar size. It's kind of like up there with a cold one-ish, a little better than a cold one. But Moonclaw, of course, is a wizard. He usually relies on shadow magic, but he can use the lore of the wilds as well. But he's a fairly weak wizard unless the moon empowers him, which is for like a kind of a brief moment. So, with all that in mind, Nathan, what are your thoughts?
Right, this is tough because both of them, if we go by tabletop perspective, because obviously Moonclaw didn't really have a lot of lore, whereas Konrad did feature heavily on the whole vampire wars. From a tabletop perspective, Moonclaw was really, really good, but more so dealing against hordes. Didn't he have that whole meteor attack thing as soon as the game began?
Yeah, well, so Moonclaw, it was represented in game in that you'd essentially roll a dice, and it would tell you what turn. So it might be on the first turn, but it might be on the third turn because it was a D3. So it could take a bit for Moonclaw or for Morslib to wax up. But once Morslib waxed, not only did he get a significant bonus to his casting for that turn, but he would throw D3 meteors, and it was treated as a catapult. So if he lands a direct hit, it's a strength 10 D6 wounds type situation.
Hmm.
Um, so so kind of following, I think, the thread you're leading to, honestly, I think Moonclaw would really struggle to kill Konrad unless he hit him with a moon or hit him with a rock. Like, if he can hit Konrad with one of these rocks, it's, he's dead. Like, he's flattened. But that's kind of a very specific win condition.
I mean, I don't know. He could have the speed advantage because of the mount,
He
but
does, but Umberluck's not too much faster than Konrad. Konrad is a vampire, so he is
yeah,
very, very quick on foot.
that's very true. What laws of magic did Moonclaw have again?
He could run into battle with the lore of the wilds or the lore of shadow, but he's not a very powerful wizard. He only is capable of conjuring a single spell at a time.
Hmm.
And it's
I don't
worth
know.
noting, it is worth noting that Konrad, like, completely stomps Moonclaw if they were to actually get, like, if Konrad catches up to Moonclaw and they start fighting in combat, the only thing Moonclaw's got protecting him is that phase through reality thing, but Konrad attacks like a literal blender and is just so much more skilled and is so much stronger and actually has armor. Moonclaw's got none of those things.
Uh, I don't know, man. Like, both of them are quite cool. This is the thing. The problem is that we don't have proper knowledge with Moonclaw because obviously, what Beastmen didn't get an 8th edition army book, and half of their stuff wasn't really fleshed out because nobody cared about the Beastmen.
Yeah, the other thing I'll say, the other thing that is worth noting is that Konrad actually makes a very interesting opponent for Moonclaw because of Moonclaw's wave of insanity. Konrad kind of has to double do that. Like, Konrad has to have his own mind, like, in the frenzy form instead of the stupid form, because if Konrad just starts wandering around the battlefield going off on one of his little moments, which is what got him killed in the lore, is that Konrad just kind of started going crazy and wandered off the battlefield, and two people managed to, like, they didn't even actually beat him in a fight. A dwarf tackled him and held him down, and a human just stabbed him in the heart because he was just, like, raving because his insanity finally got the better of him. So it's kind of a situation of, so not only does Konrad have to get through his own insanity, but once he starts approaching Moonclaw then has the ability to kind of trigger his insanity again and make it to where he'll just kind of stop and go into a stupor or wandering around. So it's kind of a thing of, do you think Konrad would be able to power through both of those circumstances to get up to Moonclaw and chop him to pieces? Because if he starts wandering around and he's just kind of standing there, he would probably make a very easy moon target, or at the very least, Moonclaw could just start blasting him with magic and doing some damage.
I think I think I'm gonna go with God. I'm dying today. I'm gonna go with Moonclaw. I'm gonna go with Moonclaw. I like the character. Konrad is super cool, but I think that Moonclaw, if everything goes according to plan, could be very devastating. He's a character that I just really like. It's a shame that we only got, like, I think only one piece of art ever, right?
Yeah, he's kind of one of those classic characters.
So I'm gonna have to go with him because Lore of Shadow is still pretty good. Don't know, even though he's not a really good spellcaster, having some magic, whereas Konrad would not have any magic, barring technically regeneration would count as magic.
Yeah, essentially, but in order for Konrad to get that, he has to be doing some chop suey.
Yeah, yeah. I'll go with Moonclaw. I'll go with Moonclaw.
Okay, well, in that case, I'll be contrarian and we'll go with Konrad. I think if Konrad could get, it's kind of that infamous coin toss, but if Konrad gets into that frenzied mindset, I do think that his anger and just his personal form of, like, violent insanity would be able to get him close enough to Moonclaw. And if he could get up on Moonclaw, it's game over. Like,
Yeah.
one good hit with the Sword of Waldenhof and Moonclaw is just dead. Like, instant dead. Decapitated. Because Konrad is a beast. I mean, Konrad literally ripped apart other vampires. quite easily, which is not a subtle feat.
Yeah.
Konrad was Vlad's enforcer. For anyone unaware, he took over. He took over after Vlad died, but the way he took over is he was like, "I'm in charge now," and one of his siblings was like, "No," and Konrad was like, "Okay," and just he was dead. But yeah, okay. So I'll do a quick. Oh yeah, sorry, chat. Let me give you all a poll. Well, and then we'll head off to the next topic.
I am on. Where is the poll? It's disappearing. 54% for Konrad and 55% for Konrad and 45 for Moonclaw.
Great, great, great. All right, my chat's voting now. So moving on to the next topic, and I'll just announce when they finish voting. There's been a good amount of Total War news. We're just gonna kind of briefly touch on it because we've all been slamming it on our YouTube channels like crazy. But what are your so the Tzeentch roster came out was kind of the biggest thing. Obviously, the Storm of Magic is happening. That's pretty hype. I think I imagine you enjoyed that as much as I did, seeing that the Storm of Magic is actually in the game with the Cataclysm spells. That I was not expecting that at all.
I got shit on the comments of my video because they're like, "Well, you're always so critical. Why are you sounding so happy now?" It's like, fuck's sake.
You don't understand. We get to spin the dial.
Exactly.
I get to flick the dial again.
That was such an important book because it was just pure fuckery in 8th edition as an expansion. It was so good.
Yeah, and a lot of people, it also opened the door for the Forge World expansions, because it brought back a ton of models that had been gone forever. Like it brought back the Chimeras, the like the Cockatrice, the Basilisk. Like it brought back like a ton of monsters. It brought back the Dark Emissary, the Fen Beast, the Truthsayer. Like it was wild. It was wild. It was not only the book that gave us all of the crazy awesome lore and monsters and updated a lot of the lore, brought the Zotes back, and stuff, but it brought the Famir back. Like it brought so much stuff back. But it also like really amped up the magic system in that if you wanted to have, like, don't get me wrong, they weren't balanced at all. Like it was not a game to play if you were serious. But if you just wanted to get like drunk and play a stupid game, Storm of Magic was like the pinnacle. Like even the End Times did not even touch the Storm of Magic's level of bullshit.
We had because I remember talking to someone from CA about it in one of the chats. They're like, "Oh, so how were these spells curiously on the tabletop?" And I just answered, "Fuckery, man! Like if you wanted to play Storm of Magic stuff, you had to min-max your list to the point that you could survive anything, and even then, you couldn't survive anything."
Like, yeah. There were generally three spells added for every lore, but the Cataclysm spells were the big ones, and they were like not only did that you need like a 30 something to get them to go off normally, which like is just an obscene casting value, but if you got them to go off, like the only one I remember off the top of my head is the Lizardman one, which the Lizardman had a Cataclysm spell where it was so stupid. You would take a really tiny army as the Lizardman, and then what the Cataclysm spell allowed you to do is you cast it with the Slon, and basically you would say, okay, I have like 3 units on the table and 3 characters on the table. And then you look at your opponent's army and say, okay, you have to reduce your army down to 3 units and 3 characters. So they had to instantly kill or just remove everything off the table until they had the exact same amount of units as you did, which is so dumb.
It was,
so you could just take like a super giant block of something and like just take a Slon and just be like, boop, and they just instantly lose like most of their army. It was so dumb.
There was just fuckery. Like a lot of people, when I talk about the tabletop, I'll mention the Skaven Law of Plague, because there's that one spell called Plague, which we have in Total War. It's fairly good. It was much stronger on the tabletop, and I took out a whole army in 2 turns because of plague. Like, absolutely insane. However, then you look at the stuff in Storm of Magic, and it's like, we.
Yeah, yeah, and Storm Magic was like, it was so much fun, especially because like they didn't cheap out on it either. They literally added super spells for every single lore of the game, and they even put in master runes for the dwarves. Like everybody had crazy bullshit, and
Yeah.
Corn could like throw meteors at people, and like all sorts of stupid garbage. It was a lot of fun.
Which is my only complaint about the blog. We don't see anything about the media. I was like, that would have been fun, just a brass fucking skull being thrown at the enemy army, because why not?
He does get a bloodthirster summon, which okay, but I definitely think it would have been fun to have the giant throw a giant brass skull of as someone put in chat, fuck you in particular. But who knows? Maybe that'll be an army ability he can get through other means.
I hope so. If not, modders, boys, please.
Yeah, but yeah. So the Storm Magic system, I'm really happy with the Magic rework. I'm super happy with the Magic rework.
Yeah.
I will be forever a little disappointed that we don't have some kind of dispel system, but it sounds like they're kind of putting in mechanics that maybe modders could turn into one, because we know that we don't know how yet, but apparently Tzeentch has a way to mess with enemy spellcasters, so maybe that could be messed with a little bit. But I speaking of Tzeentch, the Tzeentch roster did come out, and it's pretty much what I expected, but it's like every single demon that has ever existed for the Tzeentch tabletop in 8th edition. It pretty much seems like that's the game plan. Seems like the game plan is to just take every demon that was playable, regardless of how many that is, which I understand the criticism there. It's worth pointing out that the Tzeentch roster is thinner than many other rosters, but it is quite literally turned out to be just the demons, and then there's just little sprinkles of extra stuff.
So I have a few concerns about it, and I've already voiced them in a video and so on, which people kind of got pissed off at that too. But it is a logical thing. We are lacking mortals, that's for sure, and we are lacking beastmen. Why did Khorne get Cornators, 2 different Cornators, and Tzeentch didn't get anything? It would have been nice to have Tzeentch getting some sort of beastmen just to add to the roster.
Yeah, the only thing, genuinely, the only thing I can really think is that the Tzeentch, the only thing I could think is that for Tzeentch, due to like kind of army design and balance reasons, they really wanted to make sure that Tzeentch did not have like straightforward, easy access to a lot of because a lot of the units that like the Beastmen would bring to the roster would be like frontliners or like tanky boys, who are meant to literally run forward and like hold the line as infantry and stuff. And it seems like they're very deliberately trying to keep that out of the Tzeentch roster, because Tzeentch, from what we've seen, Tzeentch looks like when it comes to firepower, Tzeentch is easily the strongest roster in the entire game. And has like obscene levels of shooting and magic. So the only thing I can think of is that they're literally trying to balance it from a perspective of, okay, we can't give people these tools, because if we do, this roster is going to be genuinely just like stupid. But I don't know. I will say I am feeling stronger than ever in my personal theory that these are meant to be the demons of chaos with just tiny little things added. They are not true monogod, and maybe we'll see something down the line that's kind of like a hybrid between like the Warriors of Chaos and these guys. But obviously we'll wait to see what happens when we play them. Maybe when we actually get to sit down and play Tzeentch, we'll go, okay, like I can see why they did this.
The thing for me is not because of Tzeentch, because we've already established the power level. It's a concern mostly because of Sinesh and Nurgle. So there's a few things, obviously. Some people don't check out the Discord and so on, but like we know Nurgle has a chance of getting some stuff. Like there's kind of been a hint regarding Plague Toads.
Oh, that would be interesting. If they're literally bringing in every type of demon, so they bring out the Tarmacon demons, the Nurgle's gonna be fine. Frankly, Nurgle will have literally the biggest roster.
Yeah, but like that hint could just be literally for a DLC in the future. It's just one of those things. What worries me is, look, Tzeentch is going to have what, 6 different demonette units, and that's
Yeah,
it.
no, I'm in a similar. I see where you're going, and I agree that I am worried about Slaanesh because Slaanesh was like super underdeveloped in fantasy, especially when it came to demons. Slaanesh had the tiniest roster.
Yeah.
Because I think if they were to develop the Slaanesh demons as is, you'll get demonettes, exalted demonettes, fiends, seekers, and then there's going to be like 5 types of chariots. There's so many chariots.
There are 3, I believe. I should know this. I have a painted army of them.
Yeah, because like I think Tzeentch had. So I'm currently expecting Slaanesh to pretty much be the size of Tzeentch at the start, because I think Tzeentch has the same amount.
So we've got the Seeker Chariot, the Exalted Seeker Chariot, and the one I keep forgetting.
Yeah, there's one more.
The Razor Blades.
Yeah. Um the 3 chariot types.
Hellflare.
Yes, the Hellflare. 3 chariot types, Seeker Cavalry, Fiends, Demonettes, Exalted Demonettes. That's 7 unit types. Tzeentch had Blue Horrors, Pink Horrors, Exalted Horrors, Screamers, Flamers, Exalted Flamer. I feel like I'm missing one. But still, yeah, so I think they're going to be very similar. I think Tzeentch and Slaanesh are going to be the smallest rosters to start.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. Like, so the way I imagine Slaanesh playstyle, because we already know, like, for example, Khorne is going to be upfront and personal, very similar to that of basic Warriors of Chaos, just with a lot more heavy cav and so on, because obviously the Skull Crushers are fucking terrifying on the tabletop, so I'm assuming they're going to be the same in game. Tzeentch is going to play very similar to that of with the range kind of high elfy.
I don't know, dude. Like maybe I like Tzeentch is weird because he's Glass Cannon, the faction of that. He has no halberd infantry. He has no infantry that is tanky. Like he has no shields, no halberds. It's pure cavalry, flying cavalry, and shooting. But it is just obscene levels of shooting. Like Tzeentch, I'll tell you this: Tzeentch is going to be hard as shit to play in multiplayer. Like I think Tzeentch is going to be super strong, but if your micro is not insanely good, you're gonna have a bad time. Like Tzeentch looks like the most micro-intensive faction I've ever seen in my life.
Well, that's the problem. Who's going to play a micro-intensive faction unless you're someone like Anticity, you know?
Oh, I'm sure plenty of people are gonna play. Like Legend's gonna play the shit out of Tzeentch because
because Legend will find an exploit turn 1.
Yeah, he's just gonna cheese the shit out of the AI, and it sounds like Tzeentch is like, okay, they're super fast, but and that's the other thing is like they're very mobile. So even though like they don't have any ground infantry to like protect their shooters, it sounds like they don't really need it because a lot of their like most powerful shooting units are flyers, like the Exalted Flamer and stuff like that.
You see,
But
that's going to be a gun line, though. You could literally be a gun line and you're fine, which, again, easy for Tzeentch. Like, say, for example, corner camping, which I'm hoping is not a thing in Game 3, but if you have a lot of firepower, and we've seen that pretty much the both pink horrors are ranged.
all the horrors have range. So the 2 pink horrors have like good range, and the blue horrors have the type of shooting where it's like they don't have a lot of ammo and it's meant to like shoot before they go into combat.
Right. So we've got that. We've got then the flamers are ranged too. I think they said that the soul grinder was ranged too.
Yeah, it has an anti-large spear it can like throw at people.
So we're getting a lot of stuff, which again,
Oh,
super, super
that is
cool.
one we forgot. Soul Grinder will be in Slaanesh as well.
Oh yeah, so that and the Furies, they're going to be
Oh
everywhere.
yeah, Furies. Yeah, yeah. I will say I am expecting Slaanesh to be fast, like
Yeah,
obscenely fast, especially since
which
they revealed that if the Winds of Magic are strong enough. Um, that's another thing I actually really liked is that the Winds of Magic on the campaign map actually affect the demons. Like you get penalized if the Winds of Magic reserve for your army is too low because your demons are like fading back to the realm of chaos. But if you've got lots of magic, you're gonna have a great time because you get buffs, and Slash's buff is just more speed.
which is going to probably, I think, out of the four Chaos Gods, Sinesh will be the hardest to play. I think the hardest one to play will be Sinesh.
I think that's a reasonable expectation. Yeah.
Mm.
I'm hoping, I'm really hoping Slanesh is just like obscene levels of debuffs, armor piercing, and speed. Because if Slanesh at least has like crazy armor piercing, then it could still be like a terrifying faction in that when someone is like, oh, I'll just take heavily armored elite troops, Slanesh is just like, haha, that's cute, and just cuts through it. But it's going to be really interesting. Slanesh is the one I'm the most eager to see from a perspective of I wonder if they're going to change some stuff instead of just doing straight tabletop to game.
I don't know, man, because like as a Sineshi player, I want to see Sinesh really well done from tabletop perspective and role perspective. I think that this is why I'm a little worried when it comes to that, because obviously since Tzeentch didn't get a lot of warriors and a lot of no beastmen, like Sinesh could do with, say, for example, Ungol archers and maybe a front line of heavily armored gores, just with additional hand weapons, or warriors with additional hand weapons, because that was actually a very common thing to take on the tabletop.
Yeah, and we don't know where Slanesh is going to end up on the side of that spectrum. Like I genuinely feel like the reason Tzeentch did not get a lot of those bells and whistles, it was for balance reasons, I would think, but hopefully they'll add those things in later or do something interesting with the Tzeentch roster. But Slanesh, I don't think is going to have to suffer from that problem. So maybe Slanesh will actually have a substantial amount of warriors and some beastmen additions because Slanesh isn't going to be one of those factions that's just like trollolling around just shooting people with like the most powerful shooting in the game, wielding the
Yeah,
most obscene magic in the game. Like Slanesh is a combat focused god.
yeah,
Like Slanesh has some vague shooting, but it's like it's fairly short range. It's like tongue lashes stuff.
yeah.
So I would not be surprised to see Slanesh get significantly more non-demonic support than Tzeentch did.
I hope so. I mean, I was talking to my Discord community a lot, and we were talking, saying, "Oh, possibly Marauders and stuff, which Marauders would look cool. Throwing axes and so on would be nice on horses." Um, I like that idea. I mean, if they don't, I'm just gonna.
Well, Slanesh is absolutely going to get Hellstriders. So
Oh yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
will have Marauders on Steeds of Slanesh.
Yeah, but those were spears and the sex whips.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll give us a shooty variant.
It would be nice. It would be nice because obviously, I mean, the Steeds of Sinesh, they had poison and armor piercing, didn't they, on the tabletop?
Yeah, Slanesh had the most. The Steeds of Slanesh all had poisoned attacks.
Yeah, I mean, they were a great unit from my experience. Without the shields and so on, so you could keep the fast cav. You'd had poison attacks and fucking fast cav. You could basically just surround an enemy and just destroy their leadership in one go.
Yeah, I am expecting like a really exciting passive for Tzeentch. So we know Korn's passive is like he has his own unique rage mechanic, where I think it's like the more the more models they kill, the stronger they get. And then Tzeentch has the barrier, the extra hit points that recharges out of combat. So we have to remember they got to do something for Slanesh as well. Which it could. I'm personally expecting it to be some kind of hardcore debuff, or maybe something where like as the unit takes damage, it gets buffs. But we'll have to kind of wait and see on that. But I think they could do some really exciting stuff with Slanesh as far
It's
as
just
the
hit me hard a bit, buff,
yeah,
right?
yeah. The people shooting me and the the Slash going like, "Oh, harder, daddy," and they're like, "No, stop, no." Slash's secret weapon is cringe.
Oh, that is great. That is
But
great.
yeah, so
I mean,
hopefully, we'll have to see. Slanesh, I'm sure we'll see hopefully before the end of the year.
yeah,
I think there's been some hints about CA about what may be coming next, and it sounds like it's probably not Slanesh and Nurgle just yet, but we'll
yeah.
have to wait and see. And then the last thing we've got to just talk briefly about is there's been Games Workshop has been kind of busy. We haven't talked about them in a hot while, so we'll just kind of briefly kind of go over what they've all been up to. But of course, they did have the bizarre reveals yesterday, which they hyped up really hard, and it was okay. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't amazing. It was just kind of like, oh, all right. I am personally looking forward to Dungeon Bowl. It looks like it is a fun alternative game to just regular Blood Bowl.
Mm.
Has kind of more of an RPG feel to it.
The problem, and I'm going to be very honest, Warhammer Day was lackluster. Warhammer Day was really lackluster. From when you, oh wow, wait, I accidentally turned on their Twitch. Um, when you see it like Warhammer Day and you compare it to Skulls, the Skulls event was fucking glorious, man. How many reveals did we get for that? We got stuff for Warhammer 3, we got the stuff for the Grey Knights game with the Dark Tide stuff and all that shit, and then like how many unique models were for?
Oh yeah, there was tons of announcements. Well,
Yeah.
the thing about Warhammer Day that was weird is like, is this normally when we do Warhammer Day most years? Because like, it feels like Warhammer Day, like if you're gonna have a day, right? I feel like it should have been the reveals for what's coming next year, but they didn't do any of that. They only revealed like what's coming out like in the next month or two, which is fine. That's fine, but because of that, it was like super narrow.
Yeah.
And that like because Skulls, the thing I like so much about Skulls and why it was my favorite reveal is that Games Workshop didn't do what they like to do, where they show something and then they just talk for like 20 minutes about how cool it is. It's like, guys, like we know, like how do I put this? When I think the ideal way to do a reveal is that you show off the product, and then if you talk about it, you talk about actual information. Like, this is what it looks like on its sprue. This is who made it. Here's a sneak peek at some of the rules. Like, maybe here's like one of its abilities and like one of its a war scroll.
Yeah.
Like here's what it looks like, or like here's how big it is compared to these other minis. Like, but they don't do that. They literally just come on and they're just like, it's random nonsense for 20 minutes. Genuine nonsense.
Well, the thing is, like, it's just not done well at all, which is weird because obviously, the two people that they had as presenters are very, very used to this. I think it's more GW than it is anything else because you
Oh
can
no,
tell.
I'm not
like,
putting it on them. I'm putting it on
Yeah.
whoever like schedules the program.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because like you can tell when they start talking about the minis, obviously like Eddie has seen the rules and stuff like that, right? And so has Adam. And they're hyping it up without giving it away, saying, "Oh, you know, this model does this model does that." I was like, "Oh, that's super cool. Can we see a better look at it? Can we see it with an army? How does it look? Like you
Yeah.
said, can we see a bit of the sprue? Does it have any conversion bits or stuff that we could do?" And
Yeah, well, it's just that like if you take out them like rambling, the entire presentation would be like what, 10 minutes? Maybe 15? And they stretch it into like an hour plus. Or no, I think it was like a 2-hour presentation, wasn't it?
Yes, 2 hours, 2 hours.
Yeah, which is just for what, 6 reveals? 7?
Pretty much.
And some of them were like cool reveals, but they weren't like the Nurgle reveal for AOS was a single model and a book announcement. That's cool, but didn't really need that much time, especially because they didn't reveal anything about the book. Like if they'd been like actually showing the new rules, that would have been one thing. But you know, they'll leave that for like YouTube channels.
And start like teasing. Like, come on, we've seen teasers and teasers and teasers for what was it? Chaos Dwarfs and stuff like that. Have a little tease. Have a little tease. Just one.
Yeah, like a one more thing at the end would have been really nice.
Well,
Teasing
they had
what's
a
coming.
one more thing, and that was absolutely fuck all. That was what really pissed me off at the end. The thing at the end was literally, oh, and we'll leave you off with this, and it was a tease for the Red Gobbo.
Oh, the what?
The Red Gobbo. It's basically just fucking Santa Claus for Warhammer.
Oh, the Christmas model. Okay.
Yeah, and it's like
That's not a one more thing.
exactly. It's like, who gives a flying fuck, right?
That's a community article that you could have released and people would have been like, oh, cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, I will say, I'm gonna be interested to see how the Nurgle release goes. I've heard from like a really reliable person that there are Pestigore models. Like there's 100% finished Pestigores that are coming out with this book. I would have loved them to at least done the thing where like maybe they have the models but they're all shadowy so you can't really see them, and then just reveal the wizard just so we know there's more there. I'm a little nervous that they only showed the wizard. Because it's like, okay, some of the AOS books don't need new models. Like, they genuinely don't. Like, just release a new book and you're fine. But yeah. Nurgle is not one of them. Yeah. Nurgle needs Pestigores really bad. Because he needs something besides Putrid Blot Kings.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that they did show off a Pestigore model a long time ago for Blood Bowl, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, the Blood Bowl team's out. Like, you can buy Pestigores for your Blood Bowl team. You can buy Corngors for your Blood Bowl team.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's not the same.
Yeah, no, and it's just, then there's all these theories, like, obviously, like you said, like, you've heard from a reliable source, so have I, but then it's the whole thing where GW gets delayed, they don't like to acknowledge the fact of the delay, which, just be honest with your fan base, because we're going to buy it anyway.
GW being honest? What? Curse City?
Yeah.
What?
But it's just, it's ridiculous, because it's like, just say there's a delay, like the dragon thing, we know that's been delayed, and they finally acknowledged it at the very end of the article, which most people don't really read anyway, you know, where they put all the little footnotes.
Oh yeah, dude, Stormcast players have been getting so spicy about that, understandably, that they had their book and like all of the major new reveals for the book just weren't available. I think they announced they come out in December now. But
December.
And yeah, I don't know. It's weird. GW is a weird company.
Yeah, no, but the delays are understandable. I am defending GW here, which I generally don't do, but there has been a plague which has delayed everything else.
Oh yeah, but it's just like they keep acting like there's not.
Yeah, and it's just some of the reveals. Like for example, look, I like Horus Heresy, right? I do. I know you don't, but I'm a fan. I like the books.
I mean, you're more than free to talk about it. I'm glad you like it.
But and I'm going to put it up on screen, right? Like, because I want people to see this, right? You know, here we have freaking Jakatai Khan, right? One of the coolest fucking Primarchs, who unfortunately was last because fuck knows. Where's the bike?
Okay, so the one thing I'll say in defense of that, because I kind of like, because I've heard about this. The one thing I'll say in defense of the no bike for Jagatai, because like to my understanding, like that's his thing is like bike. Like the one thing I'll say in favor or like in their defense is that like I feel like the Primarchs are clearly meant to be like a set where they're all meant to like be like the same style and like you can all have them in a display shelf and it looks like a collector set. And if you had one guy on a big bike, it would look really off. Like it would really disrupt, in my opinion, a collector set to have one character just on like a completely different style.
No, fair. But the problem is, like, you know, it is such an iconic thing for the White Scars. Like, White Scars are known to be, you know, riders, and a lot of people have their armies with loads and loads of bikes and loads of vehicles and so on. It would be nice if they had, like, you know, an alternative thing where we get with a lot of minis nowadays, where you could just remove the torso and put it on a bike variant instead, you know?
Yeah. Maybe they'll put out something later. I don't know, because the Primarchs are Forge World, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they'll put out something later. Because like you know, like I literally heard that. Like I don't follow Horus Heresy, and even I knew that everybody was wanting Jagatai on a bike because that's just like his thing. Do any of the other Primarchs, are there any of the other Primarchs super famous for like having a mount, so to speak, or like having a machine or something? Or is it Jagatai literally the only one that rides around?
A few of them are quite famous for that, but like I'd say it's just Jagatai. I mean, the White Scars are just they've got this really cool flavor about them where they're just like people just call him like 40K's version of Attila the Hun, moves around with a lot of bikers instead of horses and stuff like that. It's really, really cool.
He's still alive in the main setting, right?
I believe so, yes.
Like I know he's missing, but
yeah, well, everyone's missing at the moment.
Someone in my chat says Perturabo should be riding a tank.
I mean, it wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be bad. But the thing is, it's one of those things. I put it this way, right? You know how bastardy it is to paint white?
Oh yeah. White Scars do sound like the most unforgiving range on the face of the earth.
I have a small, decently sized army of White Scars, mainly because I like the con, right? It's like, it would just be cool, man. I know it's sounding like, they should do this for me and stuff like that, but like
you're not the only person. You're not the only person saying it, so yeah,
oh yeah,
it's all good.
I know I'm not the only one that's disappointed, which is a shame because he's such a cool model, man. It's such a cool model.
But I do think I think there's one more Games Workshop event before the end of the year, which is like their What's Coming Next Year event, which, okay, I don't know when it is. I think it's in late November, early December.
Yeah, but we already know because they've. This is the thing, we don't know, but we know because they've said Tau are the next Xenos to get the next update. They said early 2022. We know Chaos is going to get a massive update for 40K too. The issue is we don't know. We literally don't know.
Yeah, AOS Night Haunts. So excited! Give me my book. I now with the Nurgle book, I now have the second oldest book in the setting.
Is it still for first?
No, Idneth are the oldest.
Jeez.
Idneth Deepkin are a first edition book.
Oof.
But they're very strong despite being first edition. Though I hope they get like a fun update. But Idneth, I don't even know when they're supposed to get updated. But I've heard Night Haunt are after Nurgle, which I hope is true. It would make me happy.
It's just a weird thing. I mean, you see all these really cool things. Like, don't get me wrong, right? Like, I was both happy and pissed off about the Warcry thing, because Warcry, awesome, great game, like absolutely awesome game. I play it, like I enjoy it. New terrain piece, and the new terrain is freaking awesome. Like, damn, that's gonna go to my Mordheim board, no problem. But then a Dark Oath Warband, which I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who was like, okay.
Hey, they're great. They're great if you like discount Norska.
Yeah. And then the spider dudes, I'm like, fuck's sake, it's not like we have a deity which isn't a spider in another setting, which could have been brought into Age of Sigmar,
Well, like, we have the Spider God in AOS. Like, Spider God is totally a thing. Like, he's well established if you read your Gloomspite Git book. But yeah, I was really not happy about that. I was super not happy that they ditched the Forest Goblins to give us Chaos Spiders. Like, I mean, to me, like, I understand how that should have been Spider Fangs. Like, it should have been a new Spider Fang Grot range. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. Like, to me, honestly, like, I feel the pain. Like, to me, it feels like when they like released Morathi, and they were like, oh, look, snake theme everywhere. And I'm like, fucking excuse me. Like, Kane is not a snake god. Sotek is a snake god. Where the fuck are my snakes?
It's a weird thing, because, like, the models are so cool. I really do like the Chaos theme, right? Like, don't get me wrong. I really like it. But it doesn't make sense, like you said. It's just like, bring in this god. Make it more cool. I mean, aren't they just starting to forget about gods anyway? Like, didn't they start randomly saying that Morgul was a god? Where is he? What's he doing?
Well, I mean, there's only been one beast book. So we're kind of just waiting on that. But because Morgur is a god, and like Morgur has a sub faction. The Gave Spawn are like a full sub faction with their own rules and stuff because they're the like worshippers of Morgur. But yeah, I don't know. Like, Warcry to me is very strange because like Warcry, like, at first they released it where it was only Chaos Warbands versus Chaos Warbands, and then they opened it up where you could take warbands from other armies, and then they opened it up where you could take literally anything, and now they're basically like completely restarting the game, and now you can only, I think it's like you can only take the Chaos Warbands again.
It's weird.
But I have heard they're opening it so that like every army will be playable, but it might not be as open as it was. Because I've heard something about there's going to be a system where you're able to play Sons of Behemoth in it, and your warband is literally a single Man Crusher Gargant, and that's it. Like you get a single giant, that's your entire warband, which kind of sounds hilarious. But yeah, I'm not really sure what Warcry is hard for me to get into because the rules are like constantly shifting a lot.
See, I really enjoy Warcry. I think it's a really cool system. I don't get time to play big games anymore. And if I'm going to play a big game, like a 2,000 point game, I'm sorry, it's going to be Warhammer Fantasy. So this is why I'm really enjoying like the mini games like Warcry, because it's no hassle. You don't have to learn like a shit ton of stuff.
That's fair.
Same thing with Kill Team. I'm really enjoying Kill Team. I think it's really fucking cool. So much so that I ended up buying a lot of people, because a lot of people bought the kits just because they wanted the orcs or the terrain and stuff like that. So I bought all their deathcore. Like I bought all their deathcore. I was like, fuck it, man. Like,
yeah, I mean, for me, it's Underworlds. Underworlds is my favorite small game. And I am very looking forward to the Pirate Ogre Warband. They look really fun. Stupid parrot and monkey with the Pirate Ogre. And I am very much hoping that the Pirate Ogre is an indication that we may get new Man-Eaters or new Pirate Ogres or something when the Ogre Maw tribes get a new book. Because Warcry, or the Underworlds, is usually pretty good about showing off things that are going to come out later.
Yeah. The problem is they showed off, because, yeah, I must admit, maybe I was an idiot, but I thought they were hinting to Vampire Coast.
Nah, I don't think they're ever going to do Vampire Coast in AOS. Like, I don't think they're ever going to do undead pirates. And the reason I knew it was an ogre is because that they were, because Curse City did the exact same thing to us. Curse City was like, oh, look at all this pirate theme, and it turned out that they were ogre pirates that had then been turned into zombies. So this guy is literally that concept, but he's still alive.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a great model, and it looks like it's going to be a hell of a man-eater. Like it. Look, even just look at it. It looks like Warhammer Fantasy, doesn't it? Well,
yeah. I mean, they're ogres.
Yeah. But the problem that Age of Sigmar has sometimes is when they bring something, a reimagined thing, it's normally very, very high fantasy. Whereas this has stayed with the spirit of Warhammer Fantasy. Like, he looks like you could put him on a square base, and he's not going to look out of the question. He's going to look like he fits with your army.
Yeah, generally, from what I can tell, generally what seems to happen is that if it is a chaos or destruction race, well, no, never mind. I'm not going to say that. That's not true. They've been doing a pretty good job of, like, not all the Age of Sigmar stuff, but like a substantial amount of it is very back compatible. Like, almost literally the entire Soulblight Gravelords range is back compatible, with the exception of like the Centauroid dragon guys. And even then, you could probably use them and just say like, oh, treat it as a vampire lord on zombie dragon or something, and it would work fine. Or like it's a vampire lord on abyssal terror. But like the vast majority of AOS is back compatible. It's really only the new races that aren't, like Ossiarch Bone Reapers or
Actually, I've got to find a picture for you. I've got to send it to you later. But someone really, really intelligently used the Bone Reapers as the end times Nagash Tomb King army.
Oh yeah, that's a really clever way to do that. I mean, yeah. So even there you go. You can even do that. Because yeah, they're themed around the Morghast. The Morghast was the Harbingers were the theming, and the Morghast are literally end times Nagash stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's a thing I'm with fantasy now coming back. That is something I just deeply love, is that literally anything in AOS you could fudge it to fit in fantasy, and anything in fantasy just outright works in AOS. Like literally. Because any human faction, you're just like, look, it's free cities. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Unless there's anything else you wanted to talk about, I think we kind of hit all the major points.
I think, yeah, I think we hit everything, didn't we?
All right, great. Any big plans coming up for the rest of November or?
As far as I'm aware, if everything goes according to plan, the battle report should start. We already filmed one. There's a bit of a delay because obviously work has gone a bit insane because well, COVID numbers are coming up again. So obviously that means that I have to, so we've got one filmed. I'm going to try and film 2 or 3 more before we start releasing them because obviously that way I can have a little backlog just in case, because it would be a bit blue bally if I released one now and then you didn't see anything until like January.
All right. Yeah. Well, I hope the battle reports are fun and they're going well. I can't wait to see them. Well, we'll talk about like mechanics and stuff next time. Don't worry. We got plenty more episodes of Lorebeards coming up in the future. Yeah. Yeah, we'll probably dedicate an entire episode to like talk about mechanics and stuff. That's gonna be it for us today. Like I said earlier, we are on vacation for the next 2 weeks. Probably in 2 weeks we will do a midweek episode if we're able to swing it once I'm back in town. But I am off to Scotland in a few days to go be in the Chaos Rising Warhammer movie. It's gonna be wild, and hopefully I make it there and back in one piece. And we'll see y'all when we see y'all. But that's gonna be it for us today. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. And thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.